This woman has gone from being a popular model to one of the most glamorous and stylish looks in the world of haute couture in Stuttgart. Despite the large number of photos taken during her life, the most famous is the one where she is already dead. Sit tighter, dear ones, because this is scary. Jenny van de Barkman was born on April 30th, 1922 in Hamburg, on the territory of modern Germany, which was then called the Weimar Republic. From early childhood, the girl was constantly surrounded by respect and never suffered from her lack in the future when she grew up. Not in the last turn, due to her bright appearance, the girl was often mistaken for a child with a truly English face. Moreover, she was a blue-eyed blonde, which a little later, during the reign of Adolf himself, played into her hands. In short, Jenny grew up with the promise of future beauty, being a true Aryan. During her school years, she constantly heard from her friends something like, "You know, you could really be a model." And it seems this idea deeply rooted in her head, as she only dreamed about it, to appear on the covers of the most famous German magazines. And maybe not only Germany. Well, she appeared many places. But to say that she shone, well, judge for yourself, make your own conclusions. After finishing school, Jenny immediately enrolled in the Hamburg Studio of Performing Arts, where she not only gained new knowledge, but also made acquaintances. Somehow, these useful contacts helped her to get on the cover of a Hamburg magazine for the first time. Though subtle, it was still significant to Jenny, who liked it all. The process of shooting, the feeling of self-importance, and of course, popularity. There were no TikToks or YouTubes in the yard in 1940. Getting into any newspaper or magazine for an ordinary person who is not involved in media activities was like becoming a blogger for an audience all at once. Well, Bachmann had such a fallout like bloggers on Instagram who don't even subscribe to posts. She started out casually for fashion publications, but soon began to appear in Work and other magazines. In the men's magazines she appeared in, let's say she didn't pose very modestly for them. Model Barkman was missing from the mid-40s until December 43. After her career, she went a completely different way. The paths are just different. Well, listen. At the beginning of 42, the German Nazis decided to expand the state at the expense of the civilian population. Even for work at such positions as communications, staff assistants, guards, or observers in constabularies, it was not necessary to have advanced knowledge and skills. Most of it was enough to do it, but it might have been Hitler's fault. It was his war, Hitler's war. Moreover, the Nazis offered really high salaries and career growth prospects. The possibility and the great, truly stinking mud to beat people. Or as I would say, beat the humanity out of oneself. Like the heroine of the previous video, which by the way you can watch. One day Jenny von Barkman just saw an announcement in the newspaper. Indeed, her announcement was from the SS. Looking for workers in the constabulary, full social package and friendly team. Guaranteed. Apparently Jenny was very intrigued by this offer and the opportunities it provided. And darling, I'm not referring to wealth or fame which Jenny already possessed. I'm talking about something else. In February of 44, Barkman came to occupied Poland, where she ran a watchtower in the Stutthof concentration camp, not far from the city of Gdansk. From the moment of its creation in 1939 until the end of World War II, nearly 110,000 prisoners were registered in this camp. Approximately 65,000 of them remained in the camp forever. The most horrific things happened there: medical experiments, tortures, production of soap from human fat, and much more. At the time when Jenny took on the execution of new obligations in Stutthof, she was only 22 years old. Very soon, behind the angelic face of Barkman, everyone could see the true demon. I'm talking not only about the prisoners of Stutthof, but also about his other subordinates. What's more, even some SS members were surprised at how ruthlessly Jenny approached the matter. She was considered the most ruthless and, more importantly, the most visible overseer at Stutthof. She particularly disliked women prisoners. Dozens of them died while she simply beat them with her fist and a leather belt. Moreover, she specifically selected those who were sent to the gas chambers, and that's not even the worst part. Barkman particularly enjoyed separating children from their parents. Look, it's like a déjà vu. It seems like the country to the west of Ukraine is doing the same thing. Well, which ones? Despite all the atrocities that Jenny Barkman committed, and everyone was afraid of her, no one denied that she was an incredibly beautiful woman. Even the enemies called her a beautiful sight, especially I don't care about her beauty. Even if you suddenly wonder what I think, and even if I didn't know what she was doing in life, she just doesn't appeal to me. And how about you? Do you find her beautiful or not? Contrary to the opinion of most of her colleagues, unfortunately, Jenny was very vindictive and constantly indulged in self-torture. When ordinary beatings no longer brought her any satisfaction, she began to bring local doctors to the constabulary, where she contemplated conducting medical experiments on the prisoners. All they were forced to do was inflict pain, that's all. She often killed the newcomers with a pantalic of cruelty and a smile, with which they were met by Jenny. Initially, the woman appeared harmless, possibly even beneficial. However, everyone quickly realized that this was not the case. It seemed better not to look at her at all. Never. Indeed, to send someone to the gas chamber, sometimes one look from her was enough. That's pretty much how the entire year of 1944 went for Jenny in Stutthof. April of 1945. The Red Army is approaching Stutthof, liberating Poland from the Nazis. Is it true that you want to make Poland a people's republic? Well, the Soviets have their own view on liberation, as we already know, but that's a different story. The Nazis, realizing where things are going, evacuate about 11,000 prisoners, but another 3,000, mostly Jews, are simply massacred. After this, most of the concentration camp workers try to escape from the country. Some manage to do this, some do not, and some do not even try. Barkman was among the latter. Despite the danger she herself was in, for some reason she decided to simply stay in Gdansk. And when she finally decided to leave the country, she just went to the main railway station and tried to leave by the first train. Apparently, she didn't consider her own peculiarity. A strange, seemingly plan, but here's the thing. The most common testimony of those who survived in Stuttgart was about the beautiful appearance. This is about Jenny Barkman. At that moment, she was one of the most sought-after women in all of Europe. Who knows, maybe she even managed to escape in such a way. Well, like no one would expect such audacity. Based on the photo at the video's end, it seems things didn't work out for her. The woman was immediately caught by the police, after which she was identified and sent to jail. There, she used all her charm, as much as she could, and flirting with the guard tried to convince him that she was not guilty. It seemed that many of the prison constables were fascinated by her life. All she needed to do was to get out of prison, not to get involved. Maybe someone had tipped them off, but the guard who was on duty that day in prison turned out to be a Jew who had lost his wife and friends in Stutthof. Curvy also had no chances. The trial began immediately, in which she was judged by almost 4 dozen spectators. Barkman came to each session with perfectly styled hair, constantly changed outfits, and openly flirted with the guards. Look at this photo where she is sitting next to her lawyer. Barkman denied all accusations. They said that the Gestapo type threatened her family with reprisals if she did not comply. And that sounded not too convincing. Then she started saying something else, that she really was in charge at the constabulary, but exclusively to alleviate the suffering of those who were there. Ironically, she created them. Another parallel emerges. Ironically, some of the same prisoners testified against her, but this version didn't work either. Finally, buried in a deep pit, Barkman began to say what she really thinks. With a smile on her face, she detailed the beloved tortures and told how she personally killed women and children. All masks were off. At the end of the trial, she was sentenced to death by hanging. Hearing the verdict, she said next, "Life is indeed a great satisfaction, but pleasures as a rule are short-lived." On July 4th, 1946, a former German photo model and one of the most attractive SS women was hanged on Biskupia Gorka, along with other female workers of Stutthof. Almost 200,000 people died at their hands. According to some testimonies, Barkman did not die immediately. In short, the women who were to be hanged were brought on trucks to this place where it was supposed to happen, thrown onto a pile of straw, and then the truck drove away. And when it was Jenny's turn, the truck just stalled. And at that moment, another woman suddenly jumps out and throws Barkman off the truck. She passed away suddenly. According to witnesses, the truck stalled, and she simply left. Immediately on the screen, you see a censored photo of the hanged Jenny Barkman. But on my Telegram channel, you can find the uncensored photo. Subscribe. The link is in the description. One more thing, if you continue reading about this woman on our Ukrainian Wikipedia, you can find this as well. Her body was burned, and the ashes were publicly scattered in the garden of the building where she was born. And practically all European sources write that this is just a legend about her death. In reality, things were different.
Blogmaster, please tell me what it was like, or I'll portray you negatively.
Just a second. Indeed, the bodies of Barkman and others executed that day were handed over to the anatomy and neurobiology departments of the Gdansk Medical Academy for educational purposes of future doctors. Well, from the previous video we learned that a person who is called a freak in life can turn out to be a real angel. From this video we learned that there are also contrary things. Dear ones, if you have watched this video up to this second, know that you are the best. Don't forget to like, and if you already like what I do, support the channel on Patreon. This is crucial for its development. Thanks to all who have contributed. This was Vusania. See you next week. While you're here, check out this video or this one. They're also interesting. Bye!